Newsroom, Chella Smith here, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news here on YouTube. I air on Fridays. I hold the Iraqi Dinar, so I bring you the latest on reforms and economics based on reports put out by the Middle East news media outlets. I do this weekly review, and it's based off my interest. Thank you everyone who joins me each week. I appreciate all your continued support through your likes, comments, and shares. Those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome aboard. If you're holding the Iraqi Dinar, maybe this channel will be of interest. I appreciate all the positive feedback as this channel is growing. Thank you everyone again. Let's pick up where we left off. Shafak News reports the head of the Kurdistan Regional Government Representation in Baghdad, Faris Issa, said on Saturday that the amount of 200 billion dinars allocated by the federal government to finance the monthly salaries of employees and workers in the private sector will arrive this week. In a statement to reporters, Issa said that the procedure for sending 200 billion dinars, which are the salaries for the month of December last year, have been completed, and this month will arrive this week. Baghdad Mawazin News reported the financial advisor to Prime Minister Mauser Mohammed Saleh explained Saturday that the fate of the 2022 budget in the path of the white papers. Saleh said that the white papers is an economic constitution which respects future economic life. It must respect what is stated in the paper. He pointed out that the white paper needs an appendix to the policy and for futures on how to implement them. It is a correct and reformed path. For the first time, it's becoming an understanding and a belief that the economy is reformed on basis of documents that we call the economic constitution. He ruled out the next government will cancel the white papers and reforms and may amend and approve them or add other policies because they were established correctly. On the fate of the 2022 budget, Saleh explained, the budget awaits the integration of the legislative body and its committees, and I think that the first project that the new Iraqi parliament will study is the budget. He continued, the budget is now with the Ministry of Finance and it is awaiting the formation of legislative and executive bodies to send it to parliament, stressing the vision exists and the new government will study it and the next parliament will set its vision under the Constitution. Economy News Baghdad reports the statistics for CNBC News showed on Sunday that Iraq occupies fifth place with the largest oil reserves in the world in the year 2021. The network stated in a statistic seen by Economy News that Venezuela ranked first as the largest country with oil reserves with 303.8 billion barrels, followed by Saudi Arabia with 258.6 billion barrels, then Iran with 208.6 billion barrels. She noted that Canada ranked fourth with 170.3 billion barrels, and Iraq came in fifth with 145.2 billion barrels. Iraq is the second largest producer and exporter of oil in the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, as its production rate during the month of December reached 4,310 million barrels per day, while the rate exported reached 3,677 million barrels per day. Shafak News reports the president of Kurdistan region, Narchivin Barzani, and Prime Minister of the Kurdistan Regional Government, Mauser Barzani, congratulated on Sunday Nouri al-Maliki for his re-election as Secretary General of the Islamic Dawah Party. On the occasion, we reaffirm that the cooperation and common understanding between all the forces, parties, and components of Iraq in order to overcome difficulties and solve problems for the sake of the better present and future for the country. The regional president said in a statement, for his part, Kurdistan Regional Government Prime Minister Mauser Barzani said on an occasion of the success of the 18th Conference of the Islamic Dawah Party and the renewal for you as Secretary General of the party, I offer you my warmest congratulations and blessings, wishing you and the brothers in the Dawah Party further progress and success. Shafak News reports the Kyrgyzstan leader Mauser Barzani, head of the Kyrgyzstan Democratic Party, met Monday with the leader of the Al-Fatah's alliance, Hadi al-Amari, in Erbil. This came in a brief statement by al-Amari's office, which was received by Shafak News agency without further details. Earlier on Monday, al-Amari arrived in Erbil to discuss the files of forming a new government and the formation of alliances to form a larger bloc. According to what an informed political source told Shafak News agency, Turkey, al-Amari began his visit by meeting the president of the Kurdistan region, Narchevin Barzani. This visit came after bilateral meetings between al-Amari and the leader of the Satirist movement, Muqtada al-Satars, at the later residence in the city of Najaf last Saturday. The Satirist bloc topped the elections held on October 10th with 73 seats, followed by the Progress Alliance with 37 seats. The State of Law Coalition held 33, and the Kurdistan Democratic Party with 31. Al-Satars is still sticking to his position aimed at forming a national majority government, which is rejected by the coordination framework forces that are striving to persuade Al-Satars to form a constituent government in which everyone participates, similar to the previous session, in order to secure a foothold in the government. Main Platform News reports the file of huge dollar sales through the central bank auctions in one of the most important justifications and goals that the government talked about as the justification for rising the dollar exchange rate. But the large dollar sales have not been affected since the exchange rate changed and continue to record sale figures equal to what was recorded in the past. The matter did not continue to note economic observers of lack of change, but the central bank confirmed that more than a year after the exchange rate change, the deputy governor of the central bank, Amar Khalaf, confirmed Monday that the change in the exchange rate does not affect the daily sales of the dollar, while noting that the daily currency sale auctions reached $200 million. Khalaf said in a statement to the official agencies, followed by Yassin, Iraq, the daily currency selling outlets and the exchange rates change did not affect the daily sales, and the main reason is that Iraq's economy is natured, it's a rentiered economy, unilateral, and dependence on imports. He added, all import materials of goods and services that enter Iraq need foreign currency for the purpose of importing goods, so the value of the sales of the central bank of the basis depends on the volume of imports entering Iraq. He pointed out Iraq's economy is open due to weak local productions, and this is the main reason that they kept the currency windows conservative to some extent on sales to meet the real imports that enter Iraq, noting that the daily currency auctions amount to approximately 200 million. Economy News Baghdad reports the International Development Bank announced that it had obtained a license from the UAE Central Bank to open a branch in Dubai. The bank said in a press statement that the International Development Bank obtained a license from the UAE Central Bank to open a regional branch in the Emirates of Dubai under the umbrella of the Central Bank of Iraq, which is the first private bank in the United Arab Emirates to be a center and a starting point for strengthening joint corporations between the two countries and stimulating financial and commercial exchange. To serve the Iraqi economy, it is in the public and private sector. Baghdad Mawazin News reports the federal Supreme Court decided Wednesday to postpone the decisions of the appeals in the first parliament session until next Tuesday. This came after the federal court codified the statement of its plaintiffs about the appeals in the first session of parliament. The federal court held on Wednesday a session to consider the appeals submitted on the first session of the House of Representatives. Al-Frat News, the head of the National State Force Alliance, Mr. Al-Hakim, called on Wednesday to form a balanced government within the constitutional timings. A statement by his office, which Al-Frat News received a copy of, said this came during the reception of Mr. Al-Hakim in his office in Baghdad on Wednesday, Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kazimi, and a review of developments in the political situation and security and services reality in the country. Mr. Al-Hakim called for the formation of the balanced government within the constitutional timings and the importance of the next government carrying out its task in providing services and job opportunities and many challenges and priorities. Al-Hakim and Al-Kazimi urged the concerned institutions to assume their responsibilities in terms of awareness and vaccinations after discussing the development in the health reality after the fourth wave that shocked the country. The head of the National State Force Alliance also stressed to activate the intelligence efforts more than before and perpetrate proactive operations, calling for taking into account the interests of the citizens when making decisions and positions. And when I have more concrete news, I'll go over the parliament sessions and final nominees. Economy News Baghdad reports trading data on the stock exchange indicated that the price of the barrel of Brent crude oil exceeded $89 for the first time in the past 7 years. The price of March futures for Brent crude rose 0.60% to $89.03 a barrel, and March futures for WTI crude rose 1.80% to $86.36 a barrel. And as of May last year, OPEC reduced production by 9.7 million barrels per day due to the decrease in oil demand caused by the coronavirus pandemic. And with the stabilization of the situation in the markets, the terms of the agreements were modified. Since August 2021, the parties to the agreement have increased productions by 400,000 barrels per day each month, hoping to return to the previous levels by the end of September 2022. On Thursday, statistics on weekly oil inventories are expected in the U.S. In the week of ending January 7th, commercial inventories in the country fell to their lowest level since October 2018. Shafak News reports the Central Bank of Iraq announced Wednesday that it recorded a significant growth in the foreign currency reserves last year. The bank's media office said in a statement that its data for 2021 shows an unpredicted growth in its foreign reserves compared to the previous year. The statement pointed out that its growth was achieved thanks to the various investments and its management in accordance with the monetary policy based on the best international practice away from risk. The bank did not mention in its statement any figures that determines the size of its foreign reserves. Al-Frat News reports the president of the Kyrgyzstan regional government, Mauzer Barzani, discussed yesterday with the UN representative, Jenin Plashart, the political development in the country and in the region. The government statement said on Thursday, the special representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations in Iraq, Jenin Plashart, met with Prime Minister of the Kyrgyzstan regional government, Mauzer Barzani, where they discussed the political development in the country and the region. No other details were given. And that's all for this week's Newsroom Weekly Review, your Middle East U.S. entertainment news on reforms and economics. I try to bring you all the latest Dinar news without having to keep up with all the different outlets. I'm Chella Smith, Newsroom here on YouTube, but don't forget to subscribe. And if you like my content, give me a thumbs up. I will see you next Friday for your next Newsroom update. Shout out to Currency365 for his continued support. If you want to learn about stocks and cryptos, you can join him and his crew for his most recent updates. You can find him on YouTube or Patreon. Thank you everyone for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Make sure you join us Fridays, 4 p.m. with Newsroom Updates with Chella Smith Entertainment News.